subscribe.
I'm going to tell you right now, there's going to be a lot more Sonic coming up. I grew up on Sonic and it's the reason I got a Genesis in the first place. Now, as for Sonic 1, it's okay. Certainly not my favorite game in the series. It's not the banger of a game it was advertised to be back in '91. This game has a kind of stop and go level structure that some people, including myself, find annoying at points. Even though Sonic's controls are based around speed, the level design doesn't always accommodate. And a lot of times when you do end up getting any speed, it's immediately cut off by an obstacle that's too fast to react to. As a result, gaining and retaining speed in this game is often a matter of trial and error. Now that's not necessarily a bad thing in its own right, but the most dated thing about this game, the live system and the lack of saves, means restarting from far behind most of the time, which can be frustrating. But still, there are a lot of things to like about this game. Once again, the momentum-based gameplay of Sonic leads to a lot of possibilities for fun gameplay, which some levels do take advantage of. It's also helped by the simple controls. The fact that you only need one ring to survive, and there are not many power-ups you need to worry about means that less things distract you from the core gameplay. Lastly, the presentation is really good. The graphics are distinct and full of attitude, and need I mention the music? No, I don't. Sonic 1 has a lot of flaws, but its good ideas are too good to ignore, and the game is enjoyable enough to warrant a good response from me overall.
6 out of 10!
Sonic 2 is a massive improvement over the first game for a bunch of reasons. It feels like everything was taken up a notch. First off, movement just feels better all around, and I think this is for two main reasons. First, the level design is massively improved. Levels feel like they were better designed around momentum. There's more slopes, springs, and platforms are more spaced out. Obstacles feel less like trolls and more like legitimate tests of your reaction. And if you hit them, it's not a big deal thanks to the second major addition, the spin dash. The spin dash does so many wonders for this game's flow. When you get hit, getting back on track is as easy as revving up and watching Sonic go. The great part is that it didn't erase the punishment for getting hit, it just makes the recovery easier. If you want, you can learn to avoid the obstacles, but you don't have to figure that out to have a good time. The only real issue I have with this game is the final section, from Sky Chase forward. It feels like a step backwards to Sonic 1 in terms of design. But I digress, this game still hits so many other points perfectly that I think it's worth anyone try it out.
9 out of 10!
Yet another step up in the series, there's only one other score I can give. So how does this game improve on the last? Well, for starters, the addition of a save system. This makes game overs less frustrating and also allows for the average player to experience more content. Thus, more content was added. For starters, more levels, not only more of them, but they are now longer than before, and they rarely lose their pace. I also like the little cutscenes they added between each level. It makes the whole game feel like a single connected adventure rather than an arcade experience. The levels are also designed pretty well around the different playable characters. Knuckles provides a new moveset to enjoy, and thanks to this and the level design, your journey through each level will be a little different than if you played with Sonic or Tails. I should also mention this is my favorite look out of the three games. Everything pops very well and the music is my favorite so far. If I could mention one thing that I'm not such a fan of, it's the direction they went with the level design. I think some levels take a step back to the stop and go style of the first game. It's still way better handled here than it is in Sonic 1, but I don't think it's for me. And that sums up my feelings on this game as a whole. I don't think any of my problems with this game go beyond nitpicks. It's bigger and better than the previous games in pretty much every way. Some people may prefer one of the other games. Heck, I go back to Sonic 2 a lot more than this, but Sonic 3 and Knuckles is so solid that it's hard for me to fault it in any significant way.
Oh my god, it's a 10 out of 10!
Oh, what a fall from grace this was. I think the developers of this game really tried, but this game was just broken from the start. The isometric view turns every jump in this game into an overly complicated logic puzzle. Every ledge, turn, jump is a death trap. Instead of the usual getting from A to B, you now need to defeat a certain amount of enemies before reaching the end, like some sort of collectathon. This isn't an issue on its own, but the levels are confusing as well. The goal isn't just saving the animals and getting to the end, it's finding everything in the first place. No doubt confounded by that before mentioned isometric view, which makes some levels with vertical elements a real hassle to navigate. All of this is on top of slippery controls, which I guess was an attempt to preserve that feeling of momentum, but it just feels like I'm playing on ice the whole time. In all honesty, I could not bring myself to finish this one. It was too much of a pain. To say some good things, I think the game looks good, especially for the console it's on. I was pleasantly surprised. The soundtrack, while not as great as its predecessors, is decent stuff. It is an admirable attempt at a 3D game on a 16-bit console, but it's also that limitation that makes it such an undesirable experience. The most disappointing part for me is that this is only the beginning for what's to come.
3 out of 10!
Merry Christmas.